The thought of speaking in front of a large crowd can be anxiety-inducing for a lot of people, and many people tend to struggle with public speaking. I personally do get anxiety sometimes when public speaking, but I feel like there are a lot of good tips and tricks to help me negate those feelings and get those nerves out of my system. I personally suffer from flight and freeze when I think of fight, flight, or freeze. Flight being that I tend to rush through a speech. I'll get nervous and I'll just want to get it over with as quick as possible and get out of the spotlight. So I will rush through a speech, I will not speak concisely, I will pace back and forth really out of control, or I'll move my hands rapidly. Or sometimes I'll struggle with freeze. This is really if I don't find myself knowing a lot what I'm speaking about, or if I haven't practiced my speech. I would say I tense up physically, or I won't move at all. I'll stand still, or I'll want to put my hands in my pockets. I'll start to mumble over my words. My body responses when I struggle with public speaking would be that I get butterflies in my stomach. This usually happens before I speak or as I'm starting to speak when I'm introducing myself. I also pace. This is something I'm working on because I think moving during a speech is very important, but I want to pace slowly and with control to show the audience I'm fully in control. However, sometimes when I get nervous or I'm starting to have anxiety of speaking, I'll pace back and forth rapidly. I'll even find myself looking at the ground, or my hand movement, I'll find myself pointing with no direction. And I think those are all things that I can work on. If I just control my movements and show the audience that I'm, comfortable with what I'm talking about and I'm well versed and I've practiced a lot, that really helps me get over my anxiety of speaking. I think there are also a lot of tips to manage presentation and anxiety. For my flight response, I would say being well versed in my topic. This helps me slow down when I'm speaking, because if I'm not comfortable with my topic, I'm just going to try and rush through it as quick as I can. And for my freeze, I would say breath work. Just kind of before I go on stage, I try to do 10 deep breaths and just kind of envision myself succeeding, because if you can see it, then you can absolutely do it. And I think those are key parts of practicing professional presence, which really just helps a speech come all together and show the audience you know what you're talking about. I also try to seek out speaking opportunities as much as I can. And this habituation helps me with my fear of public speaking, and my fear has honestly decreased over time, just by seeking out more and more opportunities to speak in front of others. And I think having a strong physical delivery when I speak, which is a really important thing that I'm working on, like eye contact and controlled movements and projecting my voice. I've worked a lot on projecting my voice to the back of the crowd, and that really helps my speeches seem like I'm very comfortable with what I'm talking about. And it's helped me get over a lot of my anxiety of public speaking.